council meeting for April. Hello. July, I gotta catch up. July the 6th, 2015 is hereby called to order. May we have roll call, please?
Alderman Brumman.
Here.
Alderman Steph.
Here.
Alderwoman Walker. Alderman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Brown Senior.
Here.
Alderman Mays.
Here.
Alderman Holcomb.
Here.
Alderman Brown Jr.
Here.
Thank you. Each of you have a copy of the
So
minutes.
moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. The minutes for June the 15th, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to committee reports, Ways and Means, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor. The Ways and Means Committee met prior to the meeting. We have 7 budget adjustments that were in your packet. The first one involves a firefighter retirement with 1,080 hours of unused sick leave and 192 hours of unused vacation. The total amount is $27,327.12, which is in the budget for the fire department. This is just to allocate it so they can pay the individual. I move we accept this budget adjustment upon confirmation.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $27,327.12 from the fire department be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
Did we not address this at the last council meeting? Is this different? It wasn't voted on.
It was in the packet, but we didn't vote on it.
If I could ask each one of the aldermen, would you please pull your mics up close to you? Because I think some of the complaints, they can't hear the questions or the discussion.
I just remembered. So, okay.
Okay. I didn't hear the question.
She,
I got the answer.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have another budget adjustment for retirement within the fire department. The amount is $21,441.30. It's for a firefighter with 1,080 hours of unused sick leave and 216 hours of unused vacation. I move we accept this budget adjustment based on confirmation.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $21,441.30 be approved for the fire department. Floor is now open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, if I may, I would like to ask Chief Howell a question. Chief Howell, when they get the maximum, when they get the maximum amount of sick leave, sometimes they have sick leave that's carried over that they can't get paid for?
In that last year, there's an opportunity for that last year, but most times you're dealing with very senior people that this is kind of isolated, that have that accumulated total, but there is an opportunity to have a few hours that are above that threshold of 1,080.
The reason that I was asking that is because some companies, they have what is called, I guess, a emergency sick leave bank or
Yes.
something like that, that the employees can contribute to.
Yes.
Is that something you think would work with your department?
We currently have a sick leave bank in place now, and members do contribute to it. We do have a sick leave
They
bank.
do? Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
We have, the next budget adjustment is from the fire department for $15,000 for telephone expense. The chief explained in the Ways and Means Committee that there was an error made in the budgeting process. trying to shore it up so they won't be in the red in that particular item. They're gonna move money from gas, oil, and lube and scheduled overtime to make up that $15,000. I move we accept this budget adjustment from the fire department.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment for the fire department in the amount of $15,000 be approved. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a budget adjustment for $13,000 to be paid to the collection agency out of the city collector's department. Higher collection of Division II past due time payment accounts by account billing services. Basically, this is coming out of the funds that the billing services collects, and then they get a fee, and the amount of their fee for the last term is $13,000. So this is to set up the money to be able to pay them the collection fee that they are owed. So I move we accept this budget adjustment.
I have a question.
Can you wait till we put it in motion?
Sure.
Can we get a second?
Oh, second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $13,000 for the city collector's office be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
Okay, on this collection fee, this $13,000, when they collect, funds for the city on fines and things like that, it all goes to the city, doesn't it? It doesn't go to the court, right?
They split it up.
It goes to the city.
Steve?
Steve, could you come and answer?
The fine revenue goes to the court, and then the court clerk distributes it out by state law. There's so much that goes to court costs, there's a portion that goes to the police pension fund. It's all by statute, but the city gets a large share of that back as well.
Okay, so now when we get the money from the collection agency, where does it go?
It's
In
paid
what
over
fund?
to,
In what fund?
it comes into the general fund, and then the general fund cuts a check to the district court too. And it's received into the court funds, and then the district court clerk distributes it out according to state law. So much is gonna be court costs, some goes to the state, and a portion comes back to the city as our fine revenue, or our court to fine revenue. So first it has to go to the court, and then it has to be distributed back.
Okay, so the total amount, just say if it's $75,000, it goes to district court too, it doesn't come to the city?
It comes to the city first, and then it goes to district court too.
What you mean first, it comes first, and then they send, if it's $75,000, then it goes to district court too?
Yes,
The whole $75,000?
yes, that's correct.
So,
Okay,
the question is
what-
what, I'm sorry.
And what is it used for? Is that part of their revenue, or what?
Well, the fine revenue is, revenue that the district court collects, and there's state law governs how that revenue is distributed. A portion comes back to the city, but a portion also goes to the state. And then there are smaller pieces that go to, funds like the police pension fund, for example.
Okay, so in other words, that the $13,000, when they collect money, they are collecting it for the city. But you're saying that we should take it out of District 2 revenue.
Right. That's correct. We're bringing in additional District Court 2 revenue as a result of the collection agency, so we're funding the fees that we have to pay the collection agency out of that additional revenue. Yeah, the city is getting additional revenue as a result of these
And what
collections.
percentage does the District 2 get?
Well, Court 2, a portion of the revenue goes to example for their AOJ fund. But the bulk of the revenue is coming back to the city, or a portion going to the state of Arkansas. There's a distribution sheet that, I can provide you that shows the percentages that are going to these various funds. It's all by state law.
Okay. Well, what I was alluding to was the 13,000 that comes from District 2's revenue. Is that comes off the top before they get any of the revenues? Or does it come out of a line item in their budget?
I guess I'm not understanding the question.
Okay, it said Division 2 revenue. So that's where we are taking it from.
That's right.
Okay. And you said a percentage goes back to District 2 court.
Right. The Division 2 revenue that 13,000 is coming from, that's what comes back to the city as our share of those court fines.
Okay, so it comes out of the city's fund or the revenue just exclusively for the court?
It comes out of the city's portion of the court fine revenue. That 13,000 is funded out of what comes back to the city out of the court fine revenue. We don't have a way to allocate some of that expense to the state or, all those other various funds.
No, I didn't mean the state. I know they get their portion, but I was saying from the standpoint of what the court is getting and what the city is getting.
The court gets a very small piece. I mean, just what would go into their administration of justice fund. They have to pay all the money. They receive the money in on court fines, and they have to pay it all out by that distribution that's in state law, and legislative audits that every year. And if they've got money left over in their bank account, they have to explain it. They have to detail it out because they're not supposed to have any money left over. It's all to be distributed out.
Yes, sir.
My question is, when I heard you say the city gets a bulk of the money, what percentage is that?
Well, I don't believe I said the bulk of the money. I didn't mean to say that. They get a significant portion of it, but the state also gets a significant portion. And I can't give you the percentages off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
But you can provide that if anybody wants it.
Yes, I can provide a document that has that.
And the clerk was in the meeting, the Ways and Means meeting, and she understood what we were doing, right?
Yes,
Earlier.
yes. Yeah, Veronica. Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Miller? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next one we have is from the cemetery department. It's for $1,500 for repair and maintenance. It's coming out of unused salary funds, $1,500. It incorrectly says telephone expense. It should say repair and maintenance. I move we accept this budget adjustment from the cemetery department.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $1,500 be approved for the cemetery. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a budget adjustment from the Human Resources Department for $14,651.63 data processing. This is to add the HR benefit tracking and Affordable Care Act compliance modules to the ADP software. You can see that the money is coming from, portion is from the 5/8 sales tax reserve, and the balance is from the undesignated general fund, and that is the total amount we have left in undesignated general funds. After this, there will not be any undesignated general funds left in the city budget. I move we accept this budget adjustment.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $14,651.63 be approved for Human Resource Department. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
Is that a little frightening what he just said?
Excuse me?
Isn't that a little frightening what you just said, that this is the last of the undesignated funds and we're in the
I'm just
sixth
stating
month
fact.
of the year, seventh month of the
Stating a
year?
fact. It's a fact.
Isn't that frightening?
I understand.
The county's going through crunch times. Does that feel good to you to hear that that's all we have in our undesignated funds?
Yeah, Mr. Miller, would you come and explain that, please?
You know, the last 3-4 years, we haven't had a lot of undesignated funds. We've started some years with $30,000, and it was all gone in the first 3 months. This has been a little better, you know, and it's lasted us through half of the year. And I think we started out, we, you know, had 150,000 or so. You know,
So what are your proposals after this is gone?
you know, a lot of budget adjustments have been funded from the 5/8 cent reserve. Even more budget adjustments are funded within the department. We're able to find money, you know, within the department to fund an expense that comes up that's unexpected.
Do you not realize that the 5/8 cent sales tax is being depleted?
Yeah, in fact, I passed out a report that shows that the reserve that, you know, that we've set aside and we continue to set aside every month, the monies that were planned for projects that we haven't done the bond issue yet for, which right now the only two that are left are the community center and the downtown streetscape. You know, that reserve is at $135,000.
That's still some money I'd like to spend for this year's over, but seems like I'm not gonna get a chance to spend it. But at the same time, I think everybody else needs to start spending it too.
Well, no money can be spent unless the council
I
appropriates.
understand that. I'm saying I had some appropriated thoughts I wanted to do with the 5/8 cent sales tax, but apparently everybody else is spending it for other departments and areas. And I think we need to start to live on what we have and not use the 5/8 cent sales tax up. So, you know, what I'm actually trying to say is, I don't want to see very many more supplemental budgets in here. That's what I'm trying to say. Because every time we get a supplemental budget, if it wasn't in the original budget for the year of 15, then it always come out the 5/8 cent sales tax.
And do we have any more questions for Mr. Miller?
I wasn't through talking yet, though. I was still talking about the 5/8 cent sales tax. So, you know, I would like for everybody else to take heed to that thought that the 5/8 cent sales tax is depleting quickly. And we depend on it so much. It makes me wonder what we would have done if the 5/8 cent sales tax had never been passed. What would this city have done prior to it was 2011 when it was passed. And we are so dependent upon the 5/8 cent sales tax at this time. What would we have done if the 5/8 cent sales tax had not been passed? Thank you.
Well, I think that your question is, you're asking that to the alderpersons? Because they're the ones that has to prove
I'm
it.
actually talking to the entire city, and sometimes I don't like it when I'm being questioned as though I'm talking to an individual. I am talking to the city council and the city, anybody that's listening. And
Okay, any other comments?
let it fall in the place where it falls, because we do need to be money conscious. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a budget adjustment, which is the 2014 carryover funds distributed to the 2015 budget. The total up there should be $769,985, the same as shown down in the account. That is how much is being carried over that will be used in 2015, and there's an attached copy of the work that's planned by the street department. I move we accept this budget adjustment for the street department.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $769,985 be approved for the street department. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I asked the council, would ask my fellow council, not to approve this tonight, that we need to have a meeting with the street department, because we have a priority list for 2015. But also, there is one that you may not have, probably do not, of 2014, of the projects that were supposed to have been completed and so forth. And I think it would be in the best interest of the council for us to have a meeting with the street department manager to iron, to iron this out, because some of the things that they are saying on here that has been done or is to be done is not coinciding with what I know has taken place. And with, when you're talking about almost, almost $1 million, that we need to be sure of what is going on with this. So I would request that it go to committee so that we can discuss it.
Are you making a motion?
Does this actually, though, designate where the money goes? Are we just saying that we're
does.
just carrying forward the money? And then you can, the committee can make the decisions based on,
It says right here.
it says priority, it doesn't say it's gonna be done.
Well, in that case,
And this is,
if,
all we're doing is
in
moving
that
the money.
case, if it doesn't say what's gonna be done, well, then that makes it even more, important that we don't pass it without, it's some conversation about it, because you're talking about almost $1 million, and you're saying, that this is not what it said is gonna be done, well, what is gonna be done?
All this budget adjustment is transfers the funds. Isn't that correct, Steve? Does it designate where the money's gonna go?
Well, it has a list here.
I know there's a list attached, but
Yeah, the budget adjustment just, you know, assigns the money to the overlay account, you know, so the budget's there to be spent. But I think the intent of that list is, you know, that is what is the plan, you know, for how the money's gonna be spent, is what's gonna be done. That was my understanding.
And not only that, some of these same items was on the 2014 budget adjustment. And they're back here again.
that's
And
what
so-
it's carried forward, though.
I understand, but it still needs to have an explanation as to if this money was there and we had these same projects, did we complete them or not? Because as I understand it, I thought these projects, some of these projects was already completed. And I think it's gonna be important that we get some explanations of where this money is going and the priority of it. And I
So-
think it does need to go before a committee.
Well,
Yes, sir.
It's up under the public works, so I can call a meeting up under this, if you like. I have a problem with a few things in here. I should have got with Rick beforehand. The Harding Avenue from Main Street to Ohio, it needs to be done. That's in the budget now, right, to be done. I understand that. And there's a few more in here. The Paper Mill Road on Port Road. That's the Paper Mill out there off Port Road in that area, okay. And, the Ohio Street from Harding to 28th. Okay, all this is, okay, I got another problem with the price tag. It says the total cost on the back is $846,895.24, and on the front, you're budgeting $769,985. It's a carryover, but at the same time, you got a total sales tax of 9.75%, equals out to $75,000. Now, where is this sales tax going?
If I may say, on our 2014 priority list, we had in particular, I will address Ohio Street, was from,
I have a,
from Harding to, or from Harding to 38th Street. That was in the 2014 budget. And now it's saying from Harding
28?
to 28th and Main. So I think we need, quite a few answers before we agree to this.
Do you want to pull this then?
Yes,
Is that what you're recommending?
yes.
Let's pull it and let Public Works Committee review it, and have it back by the next council meeting if possible.
Okay, I
I'll
withdraw
pull-
the second.
I
Okay.
withdraw my motion.
Okay.
But I still have something about that tax, though. That's a lot of tax money. I just want to know,
Talk about it then.
Yeah,
All right.
That concludes the budget adjustments. Something I'd like to, everybody to be aware of is that our city sales tax, 2015, compared to a year ago, is actually up almost 1%. The county sales tax is up 2.75%. I know that's not a huge amount, but I just tell you, I feel like that's indication that things are getting better. We're going to be having our quarterly budget review on July the 23rd. That happens to be my birthday, so we can all have some cake and ice cream as well. It'll be at 1:15 in the mayor's conference room. Be the quarterly review for the budget.
23rd?
Yes, sir. July 23rd at 1:15. The Finance Department will have an update on expenditures by department. All the revenue and everything will be up to date through the end of the second quarter. And we've been doing this quarterly to try to keep ourselves from getting into any kind of problem. So it's worked extremely well since we implemented this. And we'd ask that all the councilmen please come. And that concludes Ways and Means Committee.
Pay the bills.
I wanted to make a statement on this. It's no reflection on your birthday, but if we're going to have a meeting, I suggest that we have the meeting first, and then if somebody, everybody that wants to stay for your birthday.
Oh, no, I just was kidding about that.
Okay.
My goodness. I was just kidding. It is my birthday, but I just was kidding about that. I don't.
Alderman Holcomb.
Oh, I know.
Well, no, wait a minute. I don't like to be promised something, I want ice cream.
Okay.
Alderman Holcomb.
I just want to be clear for the record that on that budget adjustment for the street department, street fund is going to Public Works Committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir, I scheduled a meeting.
And
okay.
we need to have it back by the next council meeting. Any suggestions or changes that the committee wants to recommend?
Okay, consider it done.
Thank you.
We need to pay the bills.
I move that we pay the bills that the city owes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the bills for the city be paid. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes Ways and Means, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ordinances and resolutions, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor, the Ordinance and Resolutions Committee met prior to the meeting. Number 1 will be read for the second time. 2 and 3 will be sent to committee. 4 will be completed. That concludes the report.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'd like to make a comment regarding ordinance number 2 and 3 before it goes to committee. That I think some are under the impression that we're not working on this position regarding a purchasing manager. And we've been working on this position since February of this year, talking to different cities, working with consultants. We do have a meeting scheduled in the morning at 9:30 with different entities, the Pine Bluff Arsenal, JRMC, UAPB, the Pine Bluff School District. All of their purchasing directors are coming together in the morning, and we're going to look at job descriptions, and they're going to offer advice as to how we structure all of this. So it's not been overlooked. We've been working on it. It just takes time to put structure to this particular department together because it is overwhelming. It is huge. So I just wanted to provide that information before it goes to committee. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
What I'd like to know is when was this scheduled? When was this meeting scheduled?
The meeting in the morning? Oh, 2 or 3 weeks ago, at least. At least.
Never knew about it. I never
Pardon
knew
me?
about it. I said I never knew about it, but I don't think meetings need to be put up on us at the last minute if it's important for the city.
It's not called for the alderpersons, it's
Doesn't matter.
myself.
Doesn't matter. If it's a meeting, even if I can come if I like.
Sure.
And I'm simply saying that if it's a meeting in the city, then we should know when that meeting takes place, whether we want to attend or not. And it has been my research that most of us don't want that purchasing manager. I think people want to continue to do the things that they've been doing within their departments. And that's the consensus I've been getting from basically a lot of people, that they really want to keep it the way it is. Thank you.
Well, we could discuss that in the committee. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we are working on it. It is something that's planned, and typically I do not pass around, or everybody gets a copy of the schedule, but I typically do not, when we've got a planned meeting in the office, I don't typically, media has it, but I don't share it, give it out to everybody.
Sounds important to me, though, Mayor.
Maybe so, whatever. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I think it's important that you make the people aware that we do have this legislation that is going to committee, and what the consensus of the council may be at that time, because the reason.
Talk to your mic.
The reason that sometimes things work maybe for the school board, because basically they are using the same thing, same amount of paper, same ink cartridges or whatever. But with our city, we have a uniqueness because our fire department, they use certain things that you get a purchasing agent that may not know anything about fire equipment. And they may decide that, well, I'm going to get the cheapest merchandise. And that's not the best thing for the city, because it has to go through so many different codes and how long it will last and that type thing. And the same thing goes with the police department. What a civilian may think, well, we can get this or we can get that because it's a lot cheaper. And that may not be what they want. They look at what is beneficial to them. So I'm just saying that before the interviews or whatever it is, that this is on the table.
Well, my response to that is a purchasing department is much more than just gathering cost. It's inventory control. It provides structure on your purchasing. It also allows the city to be good stewards and prudent with the taxpayers' money to make sure that we do spend it in a wise way. And the purchasing director, for a city our size, it's unheard of to not have a purchasing director, because you're more stringent and you look at purchasing in a much different way. So there are some aspects to it. Savings is number one, and that's what the city voted on during the budget process last year. We used a conservative 5% approach, and the savings from that was tremendous. And that is a conservative approach. If we put 10% in, it's amazing the amount of money that we can save. And I think that as a city, we need to look at that. We don't need to just gloss over it.
But out of respect for the city council, as to whether that the council want to change their mind and work with the department heads, it's something to consider also.
Okay, anything else? All right, on to, is that end of ordinance and resolutions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Economic and community development.
You have a resolution here for commission.
Economic community development, Alderman Brown Senior. Your report?
Just a minute. You got to come back.
Sir?
Do you have to make another motion?
No, we're done.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public health and welfare, Alderman Brown Jr.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Public works, Alderman Mays.
I'll schedule a meeting before the next council meeting, as far as the public works go. Take care of that. And I just want to say that we need to look into our convention center and see if we can get that to working for us. We're losing a lot of revenue not having entertainment there for our city. That is an outstanding place, and it needs to be utilized a lot more for entertainment. Just throwing an idea out there for the council to kind of look at, and Mayor, it's sitting there, it was a moneymaker at one time. It carries a good tax base, it brings people into town, and I think we need to consider that a lot more as far as looking at another revenue. We have everything we need here in Pine Bluff to generate revenue, and it's just one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Development and Planning, Alderman Boyd.
No report, Mayor, other than we will meet on July 14th at 10 a.m., our next scheduled meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. Traffic and Aviation, Alderman Holcomb Jr.
No report at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Administration, Alderman Steps.
No report, Mayor, but we will have a meeting on Thursday at 10 o'clock. Is that the 9th? Yeah,
Okay. At what time?
10.
10. Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. Public Safety, Alderman Woman Walker.
No report, Mayor, but, I thought Chief Eubanks and Chief Whitfield was here, but no report.
Okay, thank you. You gonna do ordinances?
Okay, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. We have an ordinance amending section 29-2 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Pine Bluff regarding outdoor displays of merchandise, up for the second reading.
An ordinance amending section 29-2 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Pine Bluff regarding outdoor displays of merchandise.
Place it on the calendar. We have a resolution appointing Omar
Hold on.
Rashad Allen.
Excuse me, hold on one second. I want you to go back to one, I didn't get a chance to respond on it. On one.
What was the question?
I said, I had my hand up on one, he moved on forward.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to do.
You just place it on the calendar.
No, that's not what I want to do today.
Well, that's not in order.
Yes, it is, we passed it, we could discuss it on each reading. We did pass that order that you could discuss on each reading.
Okay, they're nodding their head yes.
Thank
Okay?
you very much.
You're so welcome.
I asked a question on last meeting to get a bit better clarity on this particular ordinance. And I asked the question, was they targeting a particular business? And it appears to me that it is, because I don't see where we're really having trouble with this particular ordinance. I think Mitzi,
Do you need Ms. Ruth to the
Ms. Ruth,
podium?
I know her well. Ms. Ruth,
Thank you, but I'll call her up here. Thank you.
thank you I'm sorry, Ms. Ruth, but I know you well, and I said Mitzi, but Mitzi Ruth, Miss Mitzi Ruth, so thank you. Well, I don't see where this ordinance is against the law. I mean, I don't see where it's gonna help the city of Pine Bluff. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for for instances where this ordinance would need to take place.
One thing is, we were receiving complaints about people displaying merchandise in several sections of town. And we really didn't have anything that governed this. At the current ordinance, there was nothing that to address outdoor display. So this ordinance was to amend what we already had so that individuals could showcase their merchandise outside, and there's a list of regulations and how they could do that.
I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out who are we trying to hurt. Pine Bluff, Arkansas need all the businesses that we can get. Unless you find where they have something raggedy hanging out or something with, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I don't see where this ordinance has any new reference to what's going on. You have things that are on the book now. If someone has something that's in a disarray at a business, you have the right already to tell them that this is out of order or it's in a disarray. So why would we need to pass this ordinance now? What I'm actually trying to say is that here in Pine Bluff and probably a lot of cities, that we'll pass ordinances that are already on the book. And all we do is just place it out there, and for the first year or so, we wear that person to death. And then that ordinance goes to a section of town, or a section of the history of Pine Bluff it's just on file. And I'm saying, I thought we had enough. Pine Bluff it wasn't born yesterday. So what we're talking about now probably already on the book. Why is it necessary now to do this? You have to show me where you have something that's out of order right now, or tell me better, because right now I don't see where we need this ordinance.
It was not a clear understanding of what outdoor display meant. So it's defined in this ordinance.
Again, I do not want to hurt any businesses in Pine Bluff. We're having problems already. We're keeping businesses here and for them to make a profit. And I'm just saying, I don't see it. I drive Pine Bluff all the time, and I don't see where there's a problem. You have to make me know that that's a problem for this. Or what you're going to do eventually make a business not so happy, and we're going to lose that business for whatever reason.
May I ask a question? Alderman Brown, do you have a question for Ms. Ruth, or are you debating this with her? I haven't heard the question yet.
Mayor, I really don't like when you interject like that, because it sounds like it's a personal interjection. Ms. Ruth works for the city, and she can answer those questions.
She's here to answer questions, but not to debate it with you.
Well, sometimes answering questions is a debate, and
Not in.
I don't want to have a
council
debate
meeting.
with you right now. I'm talking to Ms. Ruth. So I'm asking you, what's new that we have to pass this ordinance?
In the current ordinance, there was nothing to get a clear definition of outdoor display. It did not address that. So some people were putting stuff in the green area, in the driveways, just putting it out in front of their businesses and not taking it in at the close of the afternoon. And it was causing a nuisance.
We have one more reading. I definitely want you to have that for us on that next reading. I want to see some pictures or something, because right now I don't see where this ordinance need to take effect. I don't see where we need this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can we move on?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a resolution appointing Omar Rashad Allen to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Whereas Katie Elizabeth Hicks has resigned as a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and whereas the mayor has elected to appoint Omar Rashad Allen to serve the unexpired portion of the term of Mrs. Hicks, subject to council approval, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor's appointment of Omar Rashad Allen to the Parks and Recreation Commission to serve a term to expire June 1st, 2019 is hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution appointing Omar Rashad Allen to the Parks and Recreation Commission be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
I'd just like to say that Mr. Allen is actually with us today, and I'd just like for him to stand up so we can acknowledge him today. I've known Mr. Allen for a number of years, and he's done a lot of work with the youth. I know he'll make a great addition to this Parks and Recreation Commission. So.
Thank you.
Can I speak to? I feel the same way as Alderman Brown Jr. Been knowing Omar for a while, a long time, and I feel like he can enhance the Park and Recreation Commission with some new vision and ideas as far as getting it up and running, the baseball fields and things like that. I've watched his works in the community. He puts his heart into it, and I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes our agenda.
Do we have a motion to
Oh,
adjourn?
I want to say one thing. We have a group here today. Is it okay if I?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, we have a group here, What's Next Pine Bluff. If you all would stand. We have a group of young students who travel to different colleges around the state. They wanted to come in and see how the city business is conducted. We really appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.